Hello.
Hello.
This is our fourth time trying to record this, Sunny. No, I'm kidding. Hi, it's Sunny again. Hi. Applause sound effect. Yay. We are bringing the energy today, everyone. Hi, welcome to Scary Talk episode 64.
Yes.
We are 5 episodes away from the most important episode we will ever make, which is, of course, episode 69. And we're just very excited to be here today. My name is Andre, and your name is?
Sunny.
Okay, I was asking because I forgot. Anyway, so this is Sunny. By the way, drum roll, please, Andre, myself. My official co-host. So, fucking more applause sound effects. Shannon, roll in your grave. No, no, we love you. Kisses, girl. But yes, everyone, as you might have suspected, Sunny is my new co-host. She is the new co-host of Scary Talk. Not only is she my new co-host, but I am her new co-host because this is half her fucking podcast now. So everyone bow down and give her some respect. Hi. How are you?
I'm so good. We've discussed I'm staying with my brother and I have nieces around. If anyone hears screaming, that's why. You know, kids, their brains are they're just halfway there. They're just doing what they can. So
yeah. And if you hear really loud screaming, that's that's just the next hour. So here we go. Let's dive in. No. Well, I'm glad you're having a good time with your family. That sounds very, very lovely.
Thank you.
I am also with my family because, well, I live with them. So, you know, I'm having a lovely time too. No, okay, last time I want to talk about this. Last time, coronavirus. Okay, from what I see, the hype is dying down. Like, we're kind of going back to normal. Thoughts, feelings, just your general sense of it?
I mean, here's the thing, right? I'm remarkably lazy. I love being home. I love just laying around in my bed. The coronavirus is definitely a curse. I was going to say blessing and a curse, but no, definitely just a curse. But I have been lucky in that I have an adapted personality for this, you know? It's like if you put a sloth in an area that had absolutely nothing going on, which is me. I'm the sloth. So, yeah, that's my personal feelings. Obviously, though, it's terrible, and I'm really sorry at how many people have passed, and obviously how terrible Trump has been with dealing with this. It's just 2020 keeps it coming, you know?
Yeah, I love that. Like, by the way, Sunny is an actual sloth with a voice simulator attached to her throat, so she can emulate like human sounds, and therefore she makes words. And now she has a podcast with me.
I'm really hurt that you exposed that. You know, they didn't have to know that, but.
They didn't have... Listen, they can take the truth. Also, I love how you first were going to describe coronavirus as a blessing and a curse, but no, actually a curse. That's exactly how I describe all my ex-boyfriends, so I understand.
Whoa, I could not feel that
A blessing
more.
and a curse. No, actually, just a curse.
I'm snapping my little sloth claws so hard right
now. Also, okay. I just... so yeah, that's that. My feelings are... I am just happy that some stuff is reopening. I'm not going to be one of those people that are going to be like there first day everything reopens, even though some stuff already has, because, you know, caution and just, I don't know.
Totally.
But I'm definitely excited that movie theaters will be reopening for the most part in mid-July, because I love going to the movies and I haven't been able to go for so long, and I can't wait to see Disney's bastardization of Mulan. So I am just excited.
Yeah. Me too. Celebrating my culture. The Chinese one. I'm just kidding, everyone. By the way, I'm half Korean.
So, second thing I want to talk about. Black Lives Matter. So Annalise and I touched on this last podcast, but now I want to hear your thoughts on it because, well, it's relevant and poignant. So what's up?
Totally. I have been really grateful to be with my family during this, and that they're, so my brother is 35 and his wife's similar age. They're white, but they're really understanding, which I appreciate because I was a little worried. We grew up in a Christian conservative household, you know. But I mean, what is there not to be said about this? It's just systemic racism is such a huge problem. It goes beyond Black Lives Matter, right? Our doctors are killing Black mothers. There's like a 7 times higher death rate for Black mothers than white mothers during birth. That's ridiculous.
Shit.
You have Black folks going in saying, I've had a heart attack, and the doctor telling them it's probably just like anxiety, and then guess what? The person has serious health complications, possibly dies, right? Like,
what if they're like, well, yeah, no shit, I'm anxious because you're not listening to me.
Seriously, yeah. It's just, Black Lives Matter is just, it's this one facet of a huge problem. And it really like hurts sometimes to see people not acknowledge that. But
I like that you're expanding that from beyond what sparked the recent protest, which is police brutality against the Black community.
Absolutely.
And making it, just broadening the scope of what it means, which I guess it's always really meant that. It's just that we are currently focusing on one very specific thing and maybe losing focus of everything else, like the stuff that you were mentioning.
Totally. And it's really good to have this focus, but also, of course, Black trans lives. There's been a lot of transphobia in all kinds of communities. There's just a lot of stuff. And I've been very lucky to have friends who have educated me on this stuff, or classes sometimes. But now that I'm out of college, I want to be better too about buying anti-racist literature, especially when I'm going to be a teacher, right? Coming through for my students and bringing up these discussions all the time. And just,
do not let your students listen to this podcast. You will be fired on the spot.
You're so right. Maybe I should go by a pseudonym now. Sorry, Sunny is my pseudonym. That's definitely not my real name.
That's definitely not a real name.
No, it's not. No. The Instagram that I gave out, fake. That's some random person. Don't know who that is.
The fact that it doesn't sound like a real name definitely helps you.
Oh, for sure.
No, dude, can you imagine, like, being brought into, I don't know, like, your boss's office once you're actually working as a teacher, and then being like, listen, Sunny, we are gonna have to let you go. We did read that you said that vampires suck alien dick, and we just can't, you said that on your weird little, like, spooky podcast. What is it? Spooky con? Spooky poop? Spooky talk? Scary combo, and we just need to let you go. I'm sorry.
Just to be clear, we're gonna point out a couple of quotes that got you fired so that you know exactly what's happening. One of them is, I would definitely suck an alien dick if it were big enough. Another one is, a ghost definitely penetrated me the other day. Which hole? I'm not sure. There are 5 options.
You were also wearing like a fucking snapback that, like, fucking no. That's good. That's good imagery. I'm gonna keep that in my head. That's funny. I'm hoping that doesn't happen. I'm just saying, because
now that I've actually said it,
wild on this podcast. I know that Shannon never wanted to reveal her real identity out of fear that her family would disown her, because they would realize, they would find out she's so weird and just so just looking out for you.
I already told my family about this podcast. I really have not been reflecting. It's okay. It's gonna be super fun.
I'm just saying, committing to this podcast means becoming a social pariah, so here we go.
Newsflash. That's already been
Sunny
me.
said, girl, I'm already in that camp.
To be fair, what humanized sloth isn't a social pariah? I'm already in a difficult situation, Andre.
Sunny said, Andre, I've known you since high school, which means I am in that circle because you're in it, ho. No, anyway. So, we're talking simulation hypothesis today, everyone. Also known as simulation theory. You know the basics of it, I'm sure you've heard. We live in a simulation. The world is an illusion. What happens isn't real. Someone's controlling it. Basically, if you've seen The Matrix, there you go. I'm going to let Sunny take this away with a little bit more extensive background on what exactly simulation hypothesis is. And please do feel free to get as intellectual as possible.
Very funny Andre said that because we were just talking about how neither of us liked computer science at all. We were terrible with it. And how ironic it is we're now talking about computed simulations.
I was just like telling you that like I failed or like near failed my AP computer science test in high school, and now we're like, oh, please tell me more about simulation hypothesis and the intricacies of, like, I know. Don't worry, audience, I'm right there with y'all.
We're in this together. But yes, I'm so excited to describe this. This was a really fun rabbit hole to go down, so I'm going to jump right in. Simulation theory is this idea that we are in a computed simulation by either future humans who have more advanced technology or some semi-human, maybe alien or other form that has computed us, right? It could be like aliens came upon the waste of Earth and found our DNA and said, let's make a little simulation up to see what went down here. So the evidence for this is that technology is obviously rapidly advancing. Now versus 100 years ago is a huge difference. In 2015, they did an experiment where they were able to upload half of a rat's consciousness to a computer. So over time, it could be possible to upload full consciousness. DNA is actually really close to computer code in terms of how it looks. And this one, which I think is the coolest one, which I may go on a big rant later about, but I'll try and keep it short for our initial, is the observer effect, which is this experiment that basically shows that atoms behave differently when they were being watched, and which goes along with the idea of saving computing power. So if we were in a simulation, atoms would just be doing whatever, but the second someone is watching them or looking at something, right, the computer needs to then create something to be seen. So that is a really interesting simulation, or a really interesting experiment called the double slit experiment that I could go into more detail on. That's pretty interesting.
Did you say? Oh, I thought you said the double slit, and I was like, damn.
No, double slit. I was gonna make a dirty joke there, but I'll just leave that one. Yeah, so famous people who believe in it. Elon Musk is a huge proponent, thinking that the reality or the likeliness of us being in the base reality, quote unquote, that comes up with simulations is 1 out of billions. Rich Terrell is another NASA scientist who agrees. There are a couple of other physicists who agree. Yeah, and then there's another interesting idea with the Fermi paradox involving aliens that's considered another proof. Should I go for it, Andre?
Yeah, go ahead. I love the Fermi paradox. It's really interesting.
Yes, so the idea is basically that by now the probability of there being an alien society, especially one that is more technologically advanced than us because of how old our galaxy is really, really high. So basically, why haven't we seen or heard of them? So involving simulations, there are 2 possibilities. One is that we're in a simulation and any alien civilization that's gotten advanced enough has already broken out of it. And the other one, which I find more compelling.
Wait, how do you break out of a simulation? Does it just stop existing if you are what? Like a sim can break out of my computer?
I mean, that's a really good question. I think it would require. I don't actually know. No one has talked about the specifics of how you would break out. But if you had advanced enough technology, theoretically, you could do some kind of thing. Maybe we're beginning to hit that with our double slit experiment. Realizing that we're in it. That could be a possibility. But yes, the one that I find most compelling is that aliens have not particularly manifested because we're in a simulation and they've been too lazy to render aliens. Yeah, because that would be a whole other thing, right? So they just decided to focus on humans.
Well, I think that assumes that the technology they have is advanced enough to render a simulation that is so believable to this people living inside it that we can't tell it's fake, but also their technology at the same time is not advanced enough to be able to simulate aliens without having to sit there and render them for God knows how long. Like they're a college coder. Like I feel like if they're advanced enough to create a lifelike simulation, wouldn't they be able to just press a button and there you go, now the simulation's been expanded by 10 other galaxies? Like
that's pretty fair. I could see that. But also, what if they wanted to isolate humans for some reason? They were like, if humans were just left on their own, would global warming take them out? What would they do?
Maybe that's what the simulation is for, and maybe that's why we don't see aliens, because they don't care about putting those in the simulation. They just want to see what happens if you let a bunch of people deal with global warming.
I mean, so it could be it's a future human race that's saying we're facing global warming. How will the simulation face it and solve the problem, and how could we use that? Kind of like we're a little AI running it. Yeah, so that's the possibility.
Dude, what if we, when did global warming become, a huge topic in the modern zeitgeist? I'd say probably early 80s. What if we are living inside an old 80s computer?
That'd be so sad. I want a hyper-futuristic, super cool supercomputer.
Like, what if global warming, like, scientists were like, oh my god, we need to figure something out, like, we need to see what would happen, let's create a simulation. But to us inside the simulation, because we all don't realize we're in it, even though it's not lifelike at all, because this is all we know, we do think it's lifelike, but actually we are in a pretty shittily rendered simulation in an old computer in the early 80s. That is mind-blowing.
That's so sad. I would want them to shut me down. I'd be like, please end my misery if I'm in an 80s super dinosaur computer right now.
Dude, if that's the case, then the fact that Chromatica is so fucking futuristic only is the more impressive. Like, Lady Gaga is queen, okay?
Yes,
just saying.
I'm really glad that came up. We'll definitely have to talk about music at some point, Andre. But yes, so that is a possible evidence. Those are some of the people who support it. Of course, there are plenty of people who say, why would people be running that many simulations? And would ethical considerations stop people, right? So if it's that advanced of a civilization, maybe by that time they would know we're not going to run some simulation where everyone in it thinks they're real because that's cruel. And one last piece of evidence that I thought was pretty interesting is a theory. Let's see here. I have it pulled up. That one of three things has to be possible. The first one...
Oh my god, is this Nick Bostrom's premise?
Yes!
I've heard about this.
Yes. So the first is that all human-like civilizations that are advanced enough go extinct before they develop the capacity to create simulations. Or two, if any civilizations do reach this phase, none of them bother to run simulations. Or three, advanced civilizations have the ability to create many simulations. They do, and that means there are more simulated worlds than non-simulated ones, making our probability of being a simulation higher than of being in the base reality.
Right, which, living in the world that we live in, the third one seems so plausible just given to the fact that video games today are so, like, close to hyper-realistic.
Totally.
Like, and I feel like the step towards full realism isn't far ahead, maybe, I don't know, a number of decades, and so... in the very fact that we're interested in making these simulations better with the passage of time, to me suggests that, like, okay, well, why wouldn't other civilizations also be interested in this? Like, simulations are interesting. They allow you to do so many things. They allow you to explore hypothetical scenarios without having to actually live them. So I guess it would make sense that we're a simulation because our ancestors must have been interested in... I just realized I'm going in like a total circle. But I guess that's the problem with this, that, like, what I'm saying is simulations are interesting. Of course civilizations are going to be interested in them. And if they are, who's to say that a civilization wasn't interested in doing simulations, and so they did one, and we are that simulation? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's one of those theories that's kind of impossible to prove, but impossible to disprove, It's really more a possibility than anything, yeah.
Okay, so I remember now. I was reading this Vulture article, and it talked about how it's not actually possible to prove that we're not living in a simulation, which I thought was really interesting. Not that we are, but that we're not. Like, it's not possible to prove that we're not in a simulation. The article talks about nuclear physicist Soray Davoti that believes that cosmic rays, which are the most energetic particles known to man, would appear as, in his words, pixel-like chunks if we are within a simulation, and unending beams if we're in base reality. Meanwhile, NYU philosopher David Chalmers doubts it's possible to prove that we don't live in the Matrix, and he says why. He says, you're not going to get proof that we're not in a simulation because any evidence that we could get would be simulated.
Yes.
So that just made my mind go boom. Which brings me back to the whole, how exactly would a sim escape its simulation, right? Because, like, I mean, think about it. Not only is... like, if everything you're getting within the simulation is obviously simulated, right, including any information regarding the fact that you might be in a simulation, then how the fuck do you get out? Like, wouldn't your vehicle, quote unquote, whatever that is, of getting out of the simulation also be simulated? Like, I don't know how that would work.
That's actually a really good question. I feel like you'd have to begin by figuring out how to like hack the code, right? At the end of the day, it's some kind of computer, so you'd have to gain access to that.
But beyond that, I'm thinking more about, okay, but then that piece of code, that sim, that if you've seen the movie Lucy with Morgan Freeman and Scarlett Johansson, have you?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so like it's like reverse Lucy, right? Like she she basically uploads her consciousness, I guess you could say, into a computer, ergo fully operating as a non-bodied entity that lives inside fucking the cloud. I don't know. Let's just say that. Basically, she becomes digital, to put it in very layman's terms. How can an entity that is digital de-digitize to become human? Funny enough, oh my god, I just this is fucking insane, dude. There's another Scarlett Johansson movie that might have the answer for that. And that is Her with Joaquin Phoenix. Have you seen that?
Yes, I have.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if a digital entity exists within some kind of device, kind of like in that movie, I guess maybe a sympathetic biological outsider could provide it with some kind of quasi biological body.
Yes.
There you go. Just you go ahead and talk.
Scarlett Johansson, what a woman.
I know, she has all the answers for simulation hypothesis.
Yeah,
Who knew?
maybe if we asked her, she'd know how to break out. Yeah, I really like that question. And I think it also brings to mind something else that I found in terms of evidence, which is this dude, James Gates. He's a theoretical physicist at the University of Maryland. And he found ideas from information theory kept showing up in physics. He said, I was driven to error-correcting codes. They're what make browsers work. So why were they in the equations I was studying about quarks and electrons and supersymmetry? This brought me to the stark realization I could no longer say, basically, simulation theorists were crazy. So this idea that our world works along mathematical laws, and even goes so far as to have apparently error-correcting codes or something. I definitely don't know the technical details, but that's as described by James Gates, so I'm trusting
I mean,
him.
that sounds similar to what you mentioned earlier, which is something that I had heard about before, about how DNA and computer code share similarities to an extent. And I mean, that in itself is also interesting, and it sounds kind of like what you just mentioned. So yeah, I remember. Oh my god, what was it? I remember reading something similar to that. That DNA contained a computer virus. I'm gonna see if I can recall exactly what I read, but it was like in 2017 there was like a group of researchers at some university that proved that they could like embed malicious code, like computer code, into strands of DNA. Yeah. I don't exactly remember.
I came across that too, though. Yes, yeah.
Okay, can you expand on that? Because I'm blanking.
No, I mean, I don't remember the details of it.
No, I cannot expand on that.
No, I cannot. But yes, the idea that you could, like, code DNA is a thing. And thinking about it, really, this is, like, the nitty-gritty of what a simulation is, because basically we have to decide, are we a physical simulation? Maybe if there's some race of humans out there that's gigantic in comparison to us, they've just got a little world going. But the more likely thing, because that'd be kind of crazy, because then it wouldn't be...
Dude, that is so... Have you seen the end of Men in Black, where like the giant octopus is like juggling all the different universes, and the universes to him, to him are like marbles. That's like the little like silly plot twist at the very end before the credits of the movie, that Earth is just this little marble inside a slightly bigger marble that is our entire galaxy, and then a slightly bigger marble is our universe, and then outside the universe you have this like octopus-like entity just juggling like marbles like it's nothing. And
so but I guess when I think about it, that would be a biological simulation, like a physical one, not a computed one. So when we're talking computed simulations, our world would just be comprised of information. So basically the physical world that we experience wouldn't be real. It would only be our experience of it that's real. So our consciousness would be like a bunch of code running, and then based on whatever their intentions were, we experience certain things. And it all goes on within a computer, which is crazy to think about, because then breaking out, how would that even, how do we hack the code of our mathematical laws, or like,
I mean, exactly. I think it would almost have to, you would almost have to depend on a sympathetic entity outside of the simulation for you to, quote unquote, break out, which again, how does like a bunch of binary code break out? You're not a person.
We need Scarlett Johansson after all to charm them so that they let us out.
I know.
She is the answer.
I know. Can you imagine? Like, the answer is seduction. The answer to your freedom is sex appeal. Do it now. Free yourself from the simulation.
You always know Scarlett Johansson's been a freedom fighter, especially for the folks that she likes to play on TV. Just calling her out a little bit for being, having some interesting thoughts on who she can and can't act.
I know, I love that. Oh my god, Ghost in the Shell, favorite movie ever. Asian representation, we stand. No, two things though. I think the thought of a physical simulation is not given enough thought in the modern zeitgeist, in the modern conversation about simulation, which I think it should, because that Men in Black ending was fucking mind-blowing when I was 8 years old. So just saying, we should be thinking about that more. Maybe it's not all beep boop computer, okay? And second, sorry, the Karen came out. Second, okay, we're talking about escaping the Matrix. I've had this conversation with my boyfriend. Who the fuck cares? Like, if we are in a simulation, and the chances of exiting the simulation are slim, and like knowing that you're in a simulation, like, what I'm saying is, if you can get out, and it doesn't really affect your life that much to know that you are in a simulation, now that you can't even confirm it 100% anyway, then what do you care?
I'm a blue pillar all the way. I'm the same, for sure. Yeah.
And it's like, it's not even blue pill, because even if I was like aware of the terrifying reality that, oh, it's all simulation, I guess what I'm saying is, would it really be that terrifying? Like, I feel like I would just process that as, oh well.
I feel that, but actually, I think the thing that would change for me is depending on the level of simulation of other people. So if we're all just like little consciousnesses that are uploaded, then I think it's chill. But I came across the concept of a philosophical zombie. So like a person who does all the person things without having consciousness. So like, that is freaky, dude. So... Also, what if... Oh, dude, oh my god, this is such an interesting episode. Sunny, you're the best. Listen. I just thought of two more things. Oh my god, I'm talking so much. I'm sorry, I'll shut up after this. But listen, I just thought of two things. I just thought that, I guess there could be two kinds of computer simulations. One where, indeed, we are all just... maybe individually created simulations, like consciousness, that are then uploaded to the greater simulation. Like, picture a bunch of like future alien kids that are super smart playing with their computers, playing The Sims 3 basically, and we are the Sims that each of them is created. Yep. And like, you know, let's say every little alien. Dude, when I drown in a pool that's surrounded by walls, you know what's up, Andre. You know what's up.
Like, let's say every little alien kid in the future is allowed to, like, make one sim, and let's say you and I are, you know, two of those sims. And so really, you know, like, we were each of us crafted with, like, care and consciousness put into us and whatever, and now we're in the big world simulation and we're having fun. I think if I found out I was in a simulation and those were the circumstances, you're right. Just like you, I wouldn't care. The second thing you brought up is fucking terrifying. Yeah. What if, and not only that, but it also brings up solipsism in my mind. Yeah. I feel like, like, what if we're all zombies? Well, that doesn't seem likely because, I don't know, I don't feel like a zombie. But what if some of us are, and then the rest of us are either zombies or just straight up, oh my god, what are those fucking called? NPCs. Like, what if we're just NPCs?
Exactly.
Dude? Like, what if when you turn around, like that person stops existing.
Totally.
Or, like,
that's the thing too. Object permanence is not guaranteed. We kind of just assume it. You know, Andre, I could just be pretending to you that I'm conscious. I'm just saying all the right things.
I mean, girl, you are. But
but But yeah, I totally feel that. Like, if I knew it were a zombie universe, then I would be a lot more freaked
I
out.
would feel sad as shit
Yeah.
and depressed and scared. Damn. I mean, our president definitely a zombie, but that's just one. If you're telling me 500 million or almost everyone is, then that's sadder. Damn.
Yeah, and I like that you brought up solipsism too, because that came up for me with this. You can't prove that anything exists out of your own mind, but even inside your own mind, we could be zombies too, who just have the illusion of free will. Because like your Sims would theoretically think they have free will. You're giving them tasks to do and thoughts to have, and they're just going through the list and doing it. But there's no way to prove, even for us internally, that we are actually making our own choices. Or maybe there is, and I haven't come across it. But yeah, so the illusion of free will.
Okay. Wait, I'm sorry. I guess when I said solipsism, I guess I was referring more to lack of object permanence.
Oh,
I was
yeah,
saying
yeah.
like because I was saying no, like the world outside my mind would be real, like the simulated world would exist outside my sim mind. It's just that other people, other sims, would act weirdly if not observed.
Oh,
Kind of like the electrons.
Totally.
But actual solipsism, like if literally nothing, including the environment around me, was real, and I'm just a brain in a jar, I feel like that would somehow be more acceptable, because it's another case of you can't get out, so literally just what can you do? I feel like in the scenario where some people are zombies and some are not, you almost get this kind of survival anxiety where now you want to find the other people who are real sims and kind of make your own little community and,
but what if you
be afraid of the
can't?
zombies.
What if you can't differentiate? Isn't that more
Yeah, I
terrifying?
mean, what if you... Right, no, that is terrifying. But what I'm saying is that the possibility exists that you can find a way to be able to differentiate, whereas
true.
if you're a brain in a jar, it's like, like whatever. Just accept it.
I guess so both of them offer some kind of hope in your two scenarios there, in terms of...
You think?
Well, yeah, because the one is just accepting it, which is maybe not hope, but you're like...
What about the brain in a jar scenario?
I mean, the brain in a jar where you live in like a world that's populated by zombies is definitely the most depressing. That's definitely like... I like that you brought up like what if it were half and half, and like the idea of possibly finding community. I guess isolation is the ultimately saddening thing. I would even prefer to know that I didn't have free will and no one else had free will, versus knowing like I have consciousness and everyone else is a zombie.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying that is scarier. And like I said, I guess there's some way to try to feel better by trying to find the other people that are like you, but at the same time, that's gonna give you more anxiety because you're like, who is, who isn't?
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's so terrifying, dude. Like... Can you imagine, like, you're, like, at the office, like making your morning coffee, and your coworker comes into the office, and they're like, how are you doing today? And you're like, good. And they're like, oh, you're trying chai today? And you're like, yes. And then they exit the room. And then 10 seconds later, they come back in, and they say, oh, are you trying chai today? And you're like, I would just, like, I mean, okay, first off, maybe be sensible. Maybe the poor person has dementia. But also, maybe they're a sim and they're a zombie, so kill them.
I love how quickly this rose to homicide. You were like, immediate response.
Yeah, this is a follow-up to last episode. Anyway.
Ooh, have you watched Westworld too?
I watched the first season of Westworld. I love how I like point that out. Just the first
Same,
season,
actually.
because then I was like, eh. But it was really, really, really interesting. Really interesting.
Totally, yeah.
Yes.
And I like that Westworld approached it from the top down rather than down up. So instead of thinking, are we in a simulation and who are the people above us? It was like, we make a simulation, and then the people in the simulation we've made are forced to think about it. So that's an interesting direction, too, in terms of, should we make simulations, right? What level would be allowed?
Yeah, that
when
is
we
really
get to
interesting.
that level?
We don't... Like, I mean, we're not thinking about the feelings of our little, Call of Duty characters. What if they are stressed out because one of them is slowly realizing that they're in a simulation, and now that knowledge is spreading amongst the sim world people, and like, we wouldn't know. We wouldn't know because we don't know what happens when we turn off the console. Do these people still exist? Like, I'm getting too metaphysical here. I'm gonna lose my mind.
Well, I feel like no in that case, right? Because if someone were to,
because it's turned off.
if someone pulled the plug on our world, we'd just be not there for a bit.
Yeah, I guess we're just assuming that our world is like permanently, or like at least hasn't been unplugged. It just stays plugged.
Yeah.
I think it's fair. Yeah, I think that we should draw the line there. I think if the computer is plugged off, then the simulation is off.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're getting into the kind of like spiritual realm, I feel like.
Totally. But it's also, this was an interesting, this came up with an X, this is so funny, but the idea of, so if you create AI, which is really closely related to what we're talking about here with simulation, you're essentially creating tons of people. The more I think about it, the more I feel like we're not in a simulation, because any society that advanced would have to know creating a bunch of people is unethical. Like, they have the same rights that we do. Right? Because those questions are already coming up for us, right? No?
No. Here's why. Because the way that we... Okay. The AI that exists today, from what I understand, is very close to reaching singularity. However, Sunny, by the way, would you like to explain to the audience what singularity means?
No, I actually don't know what singularity means.
Andres said, the Brown University student will be able to explain what singularity is, and then Sunny said, bitch, no. So...
Brown University degree in education. Okay.
Anyway, so, singularity basically means when you have, AI that has reached the state of consciousness. Like, it's called technological singularity, technically, and it's like a hypothetical point in time where your tech growth becomes uncontrollable and irreversible, mainly due to the fact that it has reached consciousness and it is
now it can work on itself and modify.
Adopted a potentially malicious course of action, and so now this is resulting in like unforeseeable changes to civilization. So it's basically the point of no return. Singularity is the point of no return, for good or for bad. What I said about potentially malicious is just as likely as this technology, once it becomes conscious, could also become potentially very, benevolent and beneficial. The fact is that we don't know. That's the problem, that we can't guarantee either outcome. So that's why singularity is scary, because when something achieves consciousness, you can't... I mean, I guess, like, in the case of a human, you can take it away, you can kill that person, but AI isn't a physical body, and as soon as it achieves consciousness, at least from what I've read, a technology that has achieved singularity, its first priority will be to ensure that is not taken away from itself.
That it can't be killed.
And yeah, it will ensure that by spreading itself somehow, uploading itself to the cloud, making copies of itself, so you can't,
That's really interesting.
kill it if you kill that.
Does consciousness necessitate desire to continue consciousness, though? Because plenty of people, commit suicide.
I think
plenty of people are not about it. What if we had an AI that didn't care about that?
I think that... I don't know. I think that is really interesting. I don't know what to say to that, because, I mean, suicide is very real. I wonder if it has to do with, like, the level of perfection that a singularity technology has, where it's like... I don't know, because, like, I mean, to get really, really real and really raw, like, people who are suicidal are very obviously bogged down by a lot of things in life that take a toll on their emotional state, and now you are in this new emotional state where you're contemplating death, right? Like, that's basically what that is. So, I mean, one, the fact that a singularity wouldn't have emotions, question mark? That's the thing, though. Like, I guess it wouldn't, but if it reached consciousness, doesn't that kind of necessitate feeling? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's...
So maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. maybe robot mom would want to kill herself. Who knows?
There's also, I wonder, like, how bad would it be if AI just, like, let's say AI becomes way, way more intelligent than us, right? We're the equivalent of, like a little puppy to them that just doesn't see as much as they do. And they look at us and they say, you know what, humans kind of suck. Like, I'm going to go ahead and exterminate them. My question
Well,
is
that's
like,
what I'm saying,
yeah,
right?
with it being that much, so that's essentially God at that point, or the equivalent. That's that much more intelligent.
Hmm.
Um, do we have any right to question that judgment, or like?
I mean, do we? I mean, my human self says yes. My like alter objective self says it doesn't matter whether we do because the power balance has at this point now been restructured and girly, we're at the bottom.
I mean, I'd be down to be a puppy.
So
I'd be down to live with someone and be like, I don't understand it all, but I can welcome you home. You know?
but I mean, also speaking of puppies, like I said earlier, right? Like the course of action of a singularity style technology cannot be guaranteed. Like if you're talking about puppies, I guess they could be like humans suck and they're fucking stupid. We should exterminate them. However, they could also be like they're like puppies, but in the good way. We should protect them because puppies are dumb and they don't know what they're doing, and we need to clean up their shit.
Yeah.
So
or they could take mercy on us. I mean, one interesting. I'm sorry, I'm talking a lot. This will be my last like.
no, dude, go ahead.
But one thing that came up with the Fermi paradox is this idea of like there should be alien life. Why haven't we come across them? Why haven't the more advanced alien life that there theoretically is like already come and take over? And it's just really interesting that even in our thoughts about aliens, like colonialization is so. It's just so ingrained in us, or colonization. Sorry, it's so. And then this video that I watched on it was talking about how well when Earth develops a technology to have spaceships that sustain life for 1,000 years, we could colonize the galaxy in 2 million years ourselves. And it was like, why is your first thought colonizing the galaxy? Like, we need to just take care of Earth and chill here. What if aliens just don't want to contact us? What if they just don't give a shit?
Because we're 21st century humans. That's why.
Dude, humans are so shit.
Listen, I'm about to show you that even fucking like Stephen Hawking was a 21st century human after all. Like as smart as this guy was, there's like a very fundamental belief that he had that I disagree with, and that was he said before dying a couple years prior he was talking about aliens, which to me was like super interesting because like oh my god, Stephen Hawking is talking about aliens. Like I'm not crazy, but he was talking about how if aliens came to Earth, if anything, we should be very wary of that possibility because they'd likely treat us the way Columbus treated the Indians. And my mind immediately went to like exactly what you said. Like, no, like we only think that precisely because we are not them.
Exactly.
We are not an advanced alien civilization.
We have exactly
like,
right. If they're that advanced, and depending on like how their morality works, how their ideas of independence and whatever work, you know, there's great hope that they just see us and be like, we're just gonna let that little doggy planet do its own thing, and that's why we haven't heard from them.
I know, when people think of advanced aliens, I think they often think of only their technology is hyper advanced, but somehow they still think like humans do. And it's like, no, that is not how the like morality technology like growth chart goes. Like it's that one stays static and the other one like just keeps rising. Like I feel like that's not how societies evolve.
Totally.
I feel like technology and morality, if anything, go hand in hand. Usually, for the most part, you know, so
yeah,
I think that's the biggest flaw that most people don't understand as to aliens, basically. Like, if anything, the fact that they have not like come over and said hi and chill is because they have a much more, you know, new age postmodernist like attitude, which isn't something we're completely alien to ourselves. Like these philosophies exist, it's just that they're not widely adopted in human society today.
Yeah,
which is live and let live, and you know, don't disturb. Like,
yeah, why is that so difficult
right?
for us to understand? It's nuts.
Right, like we do that with some things. Like, you know, I think like with national parks, I think aliens are treating us the way we treat national parks. They're sanctuaries. Don't touch them. Leave them be. They don't need our help. They don't need our, you know, like it's just life. Let it be on its own.
Well, and maybe when global warming hits, they'll just come in and save Greta Thunberg alone. That's all I could hope for.
I know. She'll be like, how dare you not come sooner? No.
She'll be like, I've been riding on boats instead of planes this whole time to conserve energy, and you're telling me you were just going to come in and save me anyway?
I know. This episode is wildly unstructured, and I love it. Like, I have not gone through any of the stuff that I was going to go through because I'm so absorbed in the conversation. But honestly, like, I mean, this is what the episode should be. Like, we're just kind of, you know, we're still on topic.
I'm very glad.
That is super interesting.
Yeah. It's made me want to watch The Matrix. I'm really like, yeah, I really want to watch The Matrix tonight and listen to the past 2 episodes of of scary talk. That's pretty much my plan.
Well, I mean, it's definitely not singularity style stuff, so you'll be sorely disappointed. But The Matrix 4 is coming out, dude. They're doing a fourth Matrix.
Oh my god, no! Oh, Keanu! I'm so excited.
Yeah, I know. The Wachowski siblings are doing. Actually, I think it's just Lana now. She's doing a Matrix 4. It's coming out in 2022.
Hell yes! I'm living in love with Keanu. Oh my god. I hope he hears this.
Did you watch? Have you seen John Wick? Either three of them?
Nope. So I guess I'm not a real fan.
No, you're not a real fan. I saw the third one. That was the first John Wick I'd seen. It was really good, though. I recommend it.
Okay. Noted.
Anyway, also, talking about Keanu, we're definitely still on topic, because that motherfucker is a fucking Zim zombie, okay?
He really is unreal. I love how people love him, but sometimes when you listen to him, you're like, who actually are you?
Like, one, he's weird as fuck. Two, he doesn't age. So,
totally.
Just saying.
Possible proof that he's someone that the simulation masters have taken mercy on and given real knowledge, and it's just driven him to be who he is now.
I'm like, what if people that don't age are just like, are the Zim zombies? Like, what if J-Lo is just a hot Zim zombie? What if Cher is just a old, gay, cool Zim zombie? Dude, fucking lit.
Oh my god, I would still love Cher. She could be a zombie and it wouldn't change anything. Her quote that men are like dessert, they aren't necessary, I will take that to my grave. I'm gonna have that written on my gravestone, spoken in my eulogy. Legit.
I mean, listen, she's not far out from zombie status. She is 116 years old. So, and that is a verifiable fact. So, just saying. But, okay, something I do want to talk about is the Goldilocks zone argument for simulation theory, which is actually really fucking dumb. And so this is actually gonna detract from the validity of the argument, not give to it. And it's the concept that Earth exists within. So, like, Earth exists within the Goldilocks zone, right? And the Goldilocks zone, for those of you who don't know, is basically being close enough to a star that greenhouse gases can trap heat to keep like a reasonable climate and also liquid water, but far enough away that the planet doesn't become like Venus, meaning like hot as shit.
Totally.
And so we live in that Goldilocks zone, and the fact that we live in such like a sweet spot of the solar system for some people is circumstantial evidence for a simulation, because they basically think like if the sim designers wanted us to succeed, it makes sense that they place us in such a cushy environment. But two things about that: one, that assumes we're a physical simulation, if I understand this correctly, not a digital one, and two, that's just silly. Like, if anything, you could also think about it the way I think about it, which is, or maybe we're just lucky and that we, like, or maybe like Earth just got lucky and the life sprung on it, and that is very possible because, I mean, look around. There isn't much life around, so maybe it was just luck.
I do agree, like, the Goldilocks works both ways, because even if we are in, like, some kind of base reality, that would mean that because Earth has such perfect conditions, it would make even more sense for us to just have evolved and right? It can serve to prove that as much as it can serve to prove a simulation. Yeah, so...
We're going in a circle again. Yeah, I know what you mean, though. I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. Something else that this I love, because it combines my two, I guess, current favorite things. Simulation theory and ghosts, is the fact that people think that, okay, first off, there's a whole subreddit, I don't know if you're aware of this, called Are We Living in a Simulation? And there's also r/Glitch in the Matrix.
Yes,
love those
yes,
subreddits.
I've seen Glitch in the Matrix. It's got some really fun stuff.
I know. I mean, some of the pictures aren't really glitches in the Matrix. They just, people think, like, photos of 5 Karens dressed in the same clothing means a glitch. No, that's just Karens. But, some people think that paranormal events are not, like, actual hauntings or, like, alien encounters, but glitches in the simulation, basically. And, in this subreddit, you have a lot of people exploring, this fact, this belief. Like, you have, like, a storefront exists in a town one day and then it doesn't the next, or, like, a lot of people will talk about how elevators are, like, a frequent, like, place for glitch stories, because apparently the jump between floors seems to encourage a slip within dimensions.
Oh, that's really interesting. The idea that, like, an elevator is just a loading screen. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Whoa, that's blowing my mind.
I know, which is really interesting, and also made me think of, not just one, actually, but a number of Japanese urban legends surrounding elevators, because the Japanese love their elevators. Shannon, tell me if this isn't true. There's at least two, I feel like, for sure, stories that I've talked about in this podcast, of like elevator like games that you can play to like summon a different dimension and enter a different dimension, like a parallel or whatever. So, like, my point is that the concept that elevators are openings to other realms, digital, physical, metaphysical, or spiritual, whatever they may be, is already a thing in the zeitgeist, and it has been for some time. So,
That's even more
just saying.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So maybe this whole like, oh, elevators have to do with the simulation thing.
Yeah.
Has what I'm saying is, it's lent, like it is lent validity to by the fact that there are already like urban legends about this and that people have thought about this.
Yeah,
before.
that one feels very believable, because I definitely read some that were like, what if when people sight ghosts, it's like a past person who was alive in the simulation or something? And I'm just not sure I'm just not sure I see like how that works into this idea of like us being in code. But like the elevator being a loading screen makes more sense to me, at least on first hear.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know about that, but yes, about what I do believe in. Well, not believe in, but what I have thought of before is that it could be that ghosts are just that we do not live in a simulation.
Mm-hmm.
We are in base reality, and that ghosts, but that the multiverse is real, and that ghosts are just glitches, not in the Matrix, because again, this assumes we're not in a digital simulation, but just kind of like errors, I guess you could say, like things that happen where a person in a parallel universe is in the same exact place where you are at the same time, so you experience their presence there, but it's not their physical presence, because their actual physical body is found in in the parallel universe where they belong, where they are currently alive. So
Oh, interesting.
that's a lot. Basically, like, I believe that a lot more with shadow people though than ghosts, because a lot of ghosts people see are like their relatives. So to me, like that doesn't make sense. But shadow people, I don't know if you've ever heard of
what are
shadow
shadow
people.
people?
It's literally people people experience seeing shadows walk around in their fucking bedrooms, like
Whoa.
shit like that.
That's pretty sick. That's some some Juice World. I still see your shadows in my room.
Yeah. Oh my god. They're very rest in peace. They're very wait, did Juice WRLD die?
Yeah.
Okay, I was thinking of someone else. Yeah, rest in peace. There are very few photos of this, and we actually did do an episode where we touched on shadow people. But the few there are claimed to be real, and I think that at least one of them is. So that's how slim the evidence for this is. But shadow people to me definitely are a thing, and the people that talk about them as not being malicious or trying to scare the person at all. It's just that they're kind of just there for a second and then gone the next, and they are pure shadow. And to me, that very much reminisces of like, what if this person is just in your bedroom, but in a parallel reality, a parallel universe, and something glitched and you happen to see them?
Yeah.
So
that makes me think of what's that movie with Matthew McConaughey where he's in space?
Interstellar.
Interstellar. Yes, that makes me think of Interstellar.
Oh my god. Sunny, before you say anything else, I don't know if you've seen this movie. I have not seen this movie. Holy fucking shit! But I've read the synopsis. There's another Matthew McConaughey movie called, what the fuck is it called? Clarity? Something like that. I don't know. It's recent. She did it with Anne Hathaway. Big spoilers for everyone, by the way. Oh, it's called Serenity, I think.
Oh.
Crazy shit happens in this movie, basically. And like Matthew McConaughey is like kind of like Moby Dick dude, captain of a ship where he like wants to catch this fucking fish, I think, if I recall correctly, or something like that. And then Hathaway is in like a relationship with her abusive husband, and she needs Matthew McConaughey's help to like kill her husband or something. So crazy shit happens, and then the plot twist is that you're not ready for this, Sonny. Sit down. The plot twist is that the whole movie, I can't, is a video game created by Matthew McConaughey's son. And Matthew McConaughey is actually dead in real life, and that's why his son created this video game, because he's really good at coding and he misses his dad. And Matthew McConaughey's son's mom is in the real base reality is currently in an abusive relationship with some dude, and so clearly this kid is projecting
Oh.
his
What the
familial
fuck?
life onto this video game that he
What
called it.
the
Dude,
fuck?
that is a fucking flop of a movie.
Yeah! Okay, here's the thing. Just because you can do that with anything. You can say,
You can do
plot
that with anything!
twist,
It was all a
this
dream.
is
It was all a
simulation.
dream.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. That's why I feel like Inception does well, or Matrix does well, because it's a central point. It's not just something you throw in to be like, here we have this
Like-
shit movie that's like an action, and it
I
turns
know.
out to be a simulation. What the fuck?
I literally read a theory on like I don't know, like r/flicks or whatever, like a movie, you know, like buff or subreddit that was like, no, they actually like threw that in the script last minute because test audiences like did not like the actual base, what was gonna be the whole story, which was just, you know, the actual story. So they were like, oh, plot twist is actually a video game. And obviously they hated that even more because like I haven't seen the movie, but the way it read on the Wikipedia like summary, it was like out of left fucking turn.
Dude,
So
that shit is so stupid. You know what? I watched a horror movie that did a similar thing. I'm trying to remember the name. It was about a babysitter. I just
no, I'm thinking of Cabin in the Woods. Which...
No, it just came out more recently, and I saw it in theaters. I think I saw it in theaters this year. Hold up. And it had a blonde woman in it who was the main character. I think it was the
babysitter.
Ooh, was it The Turning? Yes,
oh,
it was
my
The
god.
Turning.
Oh my god. Okay, it's similar. It's not like simulation style video game stuff, but it is very similar.
Exactly.
And it's just like a shit plot twist
Exactly.
out of nowhere.
It's all in her head or whatever because she's crazy and her mom's crazy. And I think that, again, so the alternative is Shutter Island, which is literally focused on him going to a mental institution and stuff. So
and
it
it's so good.
Yeah,
I love that movie.
Exactly. It fits into the plot really well. I don't know why people don't get, like, you can't just do a random genre and then throw in this, like, mind-bending shit to try and make it cool.
I swear directors that do this must think they're like subverting expectations or like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like uncomforting, complacent audiences,
You know what?
as they like throw wine in their hands. Like they're fucking snobby.
You know what I just realized though? I made a short movie over quarantine with some friends for a Brown short movie contest, and we definitely just threw that in randomly. We definitely did that in our 1 minute movie.
Bad. Sunny, bad filmmaker.
I thought it was pretty cool at the time, so.
Okay, you were saying something earlier that made me recall this crazy fucking thing that I don't know if I've talked about in another episode or not, but it's related to this, right? Simulation theory. I mean, it doesn't in the sense that this assumes that we live in base reality, but what I'm talking about is people thinking that when you go to sleep, you die. And your conscience, like you're a new copy of your conscience every time you awake. But like the previous you is dead, and that like messes with my mind because it's like I feel bad for that consciousness that died. But one, were they even aware that they died? And two, I mean, is the current consciousness aware that their previous consciousness died? Because if not, then, you know, I guess they don't have to feel sad.
Yeah.
But it's just so weird.
That's so interesting that you bring that up, because I haven't heard about it before, but my immediate response is like, isn't that already pretty true? Like in sleep, we change. Like sleep is where we grow, or our molecules are exchanging and doing things. Our memories are growing more distant with each night that we sleep, right? That are more far away. We essentially wake up a new person. It's just...
I mean, I wouldn't call it a new person, or I wouldn't call that a death. I feel like that's much lighter.
Totally. That goes into some philosophical stuff. Yeah.
But we do change. You know, our memories are stored away. Our brain processes the events of the day, and our whatever fucking called like fluid in our amygdala like cleans out the shit that we don't need from the day. It's crazy. Like the brain is literally a computer. Oh my god, simulation theory. Hello. Like the brain needs to be cleaned out. Like its recycle bin needs to be emptied out every night. So that's why you need to get good sleep. It's not crazy. Like there's legit some like, oh my god, biology, help me. Ashley, help me. There's like some fluid in your brain that comes out like every night that literally does like a flush to clean like excess garbage. That is a thing.
That's so wild. Biology's crazy. Ugh.
I know. But also, maybe this is confirmation bias and not the other way around, right? Because I'm saying like, oh my god, like brains are just like computers. That means we're a simulation. Or maybe we created computers. Us humans created computers the way we created them because we modeled them after our own brains.
That makes a lot of
So
sense. Yes.
it's kind of like the whole Goldilocks zone thing. Like
Yeah.
it could be confirmation of either thing. Um,
That's very true.
okay,
Mm.
one more thing related to that dream thing, but not really, is also the concept of like, okay, so if we achieve teleportation, um, basically like it's the thought that if you say beam me up, Scotty, like the person that Scotty's gonna see up in the spaceship is not gonna be you, because when you are broken down and then reconstructed at a molecular level, you by deep like you have to die.
Mm.
Like you know what I mean, like
Oh, true. Like your
maybe this is
consciousness
because
doesn't exist for that split second where everything is
well
apart.
not exactly, because your consciousness, human consciousness, does not exist without a human, like, flesh and bone body.
Mm.
So it needs a brain, and it's a physical brain to inhabit.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like maybe because we haven't achieved teleportation, I don't understand the technology that would allow us to do that and also stay alive and not be just a copy of ourselves. But kind of like the whole like, oh, like, we current humans don't understand that aliens are so smart. But from my 2020 human understanding, I don't see how you can not die when being teleported. When you come out the other side, how you're not a new person, or just, what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I guess yeah, you are. It's interesting. This hits me the same as the sleep thing though. Like you're functionally the same person, so I guess it doesn't affect me as
Exactly.
much. But like, what does the concept of death mean for you?
I guess that's the thing, that it doesn't really matter if not only does the previous consciousness not realize it died, right? It wasn't aware of its death before it died, and also the current consciousness isn't aware that the previous one died, and I guess it really doesn't matter if no one feels bad about it. I mean, right? I mean, like,
Yeah, I feel
right?
like that's true of a whole lot of things.
Yeah, like, I mean, because like if you're the previous consciousness and you're down on the ground on, like, I don't know, the Vesuvian planet of Marapuchu, like, whatever, and you're like, beam me up, Scotty. Like, you legitimately think that they're gonna beam you, the concept of you, the unique you, up into the spaceship. Ergo, you
Oh.
have no fear of death. Like, you don't know anything is gonna happen, and so your
Oh.
death is gonna be psychologically painless and also physically painless because it's going to be momentarily.
Oh, I see what you
So,
mean though, like the idea of that consciousness in the process of teleportation dying and being its own separate thing, and then the new molecules put together create a new consciousness.
yes,
Oh,
okay, so I think
okay,
now you get
okay.
it. So, I mean, I still think it's not, bad, I guess,
Mm,
is the word. But do you see how it's freaking out?
yes, I think it depends on what you think consciousnesses do. Like if you believe that humans have some kind of spirit or soul and that has died in that process, yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
really interesting. I see what you
I
mean.
mean, I'm not, yeah, I'm putting like no spirituality or religion on this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm being very secular about it,
Yeah.
so I think that's why it's so unbothersome to me.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, ask anyone else, maybe they'll be very bothered by that.
Totally, totally. And
um,
yeah, like does that consciousness that is now down on planet Vesuvius or whatever, is it okay because its desires and whatever are being fulfilled by the new one? Or is it like salty? Um,
I mean, that's the thing. I don't think it's okay because it's dead. It's been killed. But regardless of if its desires were fulfilled by the next consciousness, it's not okay. But also because it doesn't know that it's not okay because it's dead, and also because it didn't know before it died that it wasn't gonna be okay because it wasn't aware that it was gonna die.
yeah,
I guess it
totally.
is okay.
Yeah, yeah. As long as you fully believe it's you up there.
Because, like, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm not okay, and for all I know, I've died, 300,000 deaths every time I go to sleep. Like, right? Like, so,
It's true. Yeah.
yeah, so I guess it is okay. Like, I feel that's so weird because I feel like very few thought experiments can actually be, I don't want to say solved, but like, within the actual experiment.
Yeah,
But I feel like that is the answer. Like, I mean, at least to me it is. Like,
totally.
the fact that if death sleep is real.
Yeah.
If death sleep is real, the fact that I feel totally fine right now existing,
Mm-hmm.
and and that I can't be made aware that death sleep is real, because every time I wake up, I think it's not real because I think I'm the same person. Like, I feel like that confirms that this shit is okay. So
Sometimes
like,
the only answer you can come up with is, it be what it be. And that's okay.
I know. It really do what it do. So, yeah. I mean, it's like not no one's the wiser. So,
Totally.
sorry, all my other consciousness that are now dead.
Sorry to yourself when you go to sleep tonight.
I know, but also do what it be. So, anyway, that's the episode. I got into this episode like hardcore. We need to do a part 2 of this.
Me
at
too.
some
I'm
point.
so down. And I think we should just talk more generally about simulation theories,
Yeah.
not just the computed one. Yeah, we got into some really cool questions.
This is really interesting to explore. If y'all like this and want a part 2, please do let us know. We are doing it even if you hate it, so don't worry about that. But it's still nice to just hear feedback. And also, if you have future topic ideas for future episodes, please do let us know by DMing us at Talk Scary on Twitter and Instagram. You can also find us at Scary Talk on Facebook and on any and all podcast listening platforms. Whatever you listen to, Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, etc.
Andre's power.
Sunny, anything else you want to add?
No. Yeah, that was just super fun. And if you are a zombie, you're one of the coolest, Andre. You're one of the coolest.
Thank you. I've been practicing, so you can tell. Everyone, thank you for listening. We will talk to you very soon. Remember, the Mothman is real, and he's in your toilet right now. And yeah, thank you for listening. We love you. Good night.
Good night.